Hi, everyone. I'm Sunny.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Rox. And this is
Literature on the Rocks.
Yes, it sure is.
Benvenidas.
Okay, so I was watching, I was doom scrolling, and someone popped up and she was like, I'm going to give you superlatives or like most likely to, whatever, awards for your group of girlfriends. And I thought it'd be fun to come up with some and then decide who would fit into that group.
Okay.
But I just asked chat. I don't know if there are very many good ones, but
Let's try it.
Let's see what we got.
So these are bookish superlatives.
Okay.
Most likely to finish a book in one setting.
Rachel.
Yeah.
Sure enough.
Most likely to cry over a fictional character. Not Rox.
Yeah.
Definitely not me.
Rocks. I feel like we get tied.
But I was going to say, that's a mix of the two of you.
Okay, I will say, because last year we read The Nightingale and Sunny and I sobbed.
Yeah.
And you were stone cold.
Yeah.
My mother was aghast that you had zero emotion to that scene. She was in her office crying. And I told her you didn't cry at all. And she was like, what?
Most likely to spoil the chapter for a friend.
I don't know that any of you guys, either of you would
We
do
try
that.
really hard not to.
Yes.
We try really hard not to talk about the book at all because we're going to talk about it here.
Yes.
Most likely to
Not finish the book?
Finish the
Rox.
book.
Rocks.
1000% me.
Most likely to forget the main character's name.
Ooh, me. You don't know how many times in my book club answers I say wife or main character because I cannot remember their names.
Yeah, I definitely don't remember
And
the
then I
names.
wait for
You
you
can
guys.
tie. You guys can tie.
And then I wait for you guys to use the names and I go, oh yeah, fill it in.
Most likely to scream into a pillow after a plot twist.
Probably you.
I was going to say maybe
I'm
Sunny.
pretty
You're pretty vocal.
I wouldn't use a pillow.
You would just yell.
I don't want some just book. I want not just book ones. Most likely to end up in jail. I thought that was so funny. I don't know.
Why are you looking at me?
Because I'm thinking maybe Rachel.
She's
I tried
probably
very hard.
already killed a few people
Yeah.
and
I
buried
tried-
their bodies.
And she
Exactly,
has
and
left
I'm
me
not
out of
in
it.
jail.
Well, because she
Winning.
hasn't told
Most
me, so I
likely to
can't.
evade jail.
Rachel.
Most likely to be banned from a public place. I don't know.
Also me?
I was
Yeah,
like,
right?
maybe Rachel?
For sure. For getting into a fight with someone.
Oh, Rachel.
Yeah. For winning a fight with someone.
For finishing the fight
Let
with
me
someone.
Let's specify what happened during said fight.
Not just for starting a fight, but not for starting it, but finishing it.
Yeah.
But also like solving a fucking problem. Okay. Most likely to be on a reality TV show. I don't know if any of us would be on reality TV shows.
Depends on the reality TV show. If it's like Survivor, maybe I would do it.
Okay.
You know, like reality TV like that. Big
So,
Brother,
like, be
maybe I
on
would do
reality
it.
TV, but not be good. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but that would be also a potential.
Just kidding. Love you. Most likely to leave you on read. That one's not Rachel. I feel like you're
No.
really good.
You are. I would put myself in that category.
Every now and then it's you.
Yeah. I
But
get
most
into
days
moments.
it's you.
Mostly me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Most likely to send a novel-length text. Sometimes all of us.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel like we all kind of,
That's a rotation.
or most likely to send multiple texts instead. I do that.
I do that too.
Like, every
yeah.
text is a
Like
thought.
a sentence, like no. It's like you're sending a telegram. Stop, and then you start doing it. Stop.
And then I feel bad because then I look back and I'm like, dang, I really blew them up for like 5 text messages
And
in
it's
a
all
row.
just one common thread of things.
Yes.
Yeah, when we, even just two of us, are on the phone at the same time and we start a conversation, that third person's going to come into a real long chapter of things to read.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
That's
and I
true.
think that's happened to all 3 of us at some point. Like, dang, I really missed a lot.
Yeah, right. Most likely to order another round. Depends on the day.
Yeah.
Most likely to fall asleep on the couch. Let me say, most likely to fall asleep during a movie.
I was just
Rachel.
going to say that.
At 11 o'clock at night, Rachel.
at 11 o'clock.
Just want to preface what time the movie.
I swear, I'll stay awake.
That
I'm
was
like,
rocks.
Whatever. Both of you.
Okay.
And I stayed awake.
And you were like,
I was doing everything I could to make sure I did not fall asleep.
You even tried to do things to make me not fall asleep, and none of them worked.
No, I resorted to just messing with you to keep myself awake.
all right,
You
let's
mix
talk about
it
our
and it's
cocktail.
creamy.
So first of all, our book we are deep diving today is The Most Fun We Ever Had by Claire Lombardo. So we wanted something that was like sweet, nostalgic, a little family chaos. And so we also really like the idea of limoncello. So just to be super honest. So the cocktail that Chat created is bright, sweet, and a little tart, which I like that because this book is a little tart.
A lot of tart.
Yeah. We're calling this When Life Gives You Limoncello. And it is 1.5 ounces of limoncello, 1 ounce white rum, 1 ounce cream of coconut, and 1/2 ounce of lime juice.
All right.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay.
I'm not mad at this.
It's actually better than I
it to be
expected.
tartar.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be this sweet.
It's very sweet.
It's not bad. I really
No.
was questioning the coconut jizz. And it's not.
I do like it.
Yeah.
I like it. It's
And you know what? I'm
it's
glad
summery.
you put the basil in there. It really gives it a little something.
Oh, yeah. We topped it with basil.
And it gives a little aromatic when you drink it.
That's what I like about it.
Rox, hit us with an author bio. We usually do the cocktail after your.
Oh, we were
segment.
excited, but that's okay. Claire Lombardo was raised in Illinois. She studied English and creative writing before earning her MFA from Iowa Writers Workshop, one of the most prestigious creative writing programs in the country. Before becoming a best-selling author, Lombardo worked a variety of jobs, including as a social worker and a nanny. Those experiences exposed her to the intimate realities of family life, relationship, and human behavior. She has often spoken about her fascination with the stories families tell themselves, the secrets they keep, and the ways people can love each other deeply while still causing one another pain. Claire's debut novel, The Most Fun We Ever Had,
I did not know it was a debut.
it was a debut.
The debut.
It was published in 2019 and became an instant success. The novel was selected as Reese's book club pick and was praised for his nuanced portrayal of marriage, motherhood, sisterhood, and family dynamics. Interestingly, the manuscript was over 500 pages long
God damn.
and began as her graduate thesis before being acquired and published.
Where did we land with those pages? $4.99?
Yeah. I know, it was like 20 hours
It
long.
was so long.
Claire also spent years writing and revising manuscripts that were never sold. Like many authors, her overnight success came after years of persistence behind the scenes. Today, Claire continues to write literary fiction that explores family relationships and the complexities of ordinary life. Her novels remind readers that some of the most compelling stories aren't about extraordinary people, they're about ordinary people trying to love each other the best they can. All right, do you want me to give you the summary?
Hell yeah.
640 pages.
So she added 140 pages.
To her thesis. Well, she needed some details.
We needed to round out the story.
Oh, God.
Okay, so The Most Fun We Ever Had follows Marilyn and David Sorenson, a couple whose 40-year marriage appears to be the kind of enduring love story everyone hopes to find. Their relationship has become the foundation of their family and in many ways the standard against which their 4 daughters measure their own lives. Beneath the surface, each of those daughters is struggling with their own challenges, secrets, disappointments, and complicated relationships. As the family gathers together, old wounds resurface, long-held assumptions are questioned, and everyone is forced to confront the stories they've been telling themselves about love, marriage, motherhood, and happiness. When an unexpected person from their past enters the picture, the family is forced to re-examine not only who they are as individuals, but who they are to one another. It's a book that asks whether anyone truly has it all figured out and reminds us that even the families who look perfect from the outside are usually just doing their best behind closed doors.
All right, let's get into these chumpies. Mine starts with a prologue into part 1. So 16 years earlier, it's the year 2000, and Marilyn Sorenson is the mother of 4 daughters, and she is attending the wedding of her eldest daughter. It's like in their backyard. Her name is Wendy. Her second born is Violet and has been drinking too much. Meanwhile, her third daughter, Liza, is friendless, and her youngest daughter, Grace, is emotionally stunted. Marilyn takes comfort in her husband, David. Wendy's husband, Miles, is a wealthy man and significantly older. Some people think Wendy married for money, but she and Miles know that is not the case. Present day, Violet is summoned to lunch by Wendy, but she has to pick her son up, Wyatt, from preschool. So Violet knows Wendy has experienced the most trauma in the family, but her sister also likes drama. When I first started listening to this book, I could not figure out who was who and who was talking.
Oh yeah, because they don't
audiobook-
identify themselves.
The audiobook just switches, right?
Yes.
And I don't know if it would be different when I was reading it, because it was just like from one line to the next, you're in a different person's point of
Yes.
view. Walking in, she's one person, and then sitting at the table, it's a different person's point of view. And I could not follow along. I rewound the first couple chapters so much to re-listen to it because I couldn't. I'm like, who is talking right now? And which one is which? And so I finally had to go in and like, okay, I just need to know the 4 daughters' names and order of when they were born. The last time they saw each other was at, quote, second Thanksgiving.
They explain it at some point in the book. There was a point when Violet was born. Wendy couldn't go to Thanksgiving with her father-in-law. So she sent her husband, David, and Wendy to go to Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's right.
And the father-in-law was like, well, when you feel better, you'll come and we'll make a second Thanksgiving. And so it started this second Thanksgiving tradition. So that way, if all of the kids couldn't be there on Thanksgiving, they had second Thanksgiving so everybody could be together.
Right. Yes. Okay. So when Violet arrives, she sees her sister has invited someone. It's like the back of his head, and she can't quite figure it out. And then she suddenly realizes it's the child that she gave up for adoption years earlier. And instead of going to the table and even saying anything, she just turns around and leaves the restaurant. But also, like, why are you springing on this child on me? Like, so later, Wendy gets ready for a fundraiser, and she's speaking to Miles in her head, which she has been doing ever since he passed away. I think it's been a couple years now. She talks about how, like, oh, everyone says it takes a year, but I don't think I'm ever going to get over it. She details the lunch that Violet left without speaking to them. Grace, who is the youngest of the daughters, lives out of state. She received a letter from the last law school that she's applied to, which was like her safe school.
And the letter was like super skinny. And she's like, there's no way that's an acceptance packet in there.
Yeah. So Liza calls while she's like debating on opening it and tells Grace, I just achieved tenure. So Liza is the 3rd daughter. Grace is obviously ecstatic, and she feels a little bit like, oh, I'm the most boring sister and nothing good happens to me. And Liza's concerned that her partner, though, Ryan, might not be happy about it, which, like, immediate red flag. Who's Ryan? Why is he not going to be excited about
your tenure? You're the youngest tenured professor at your college.
This huge accomplishment that someone should be celebrating you with. Then Liza turns and asks about Grace's applications, and Grace lies by omission about her acceptance to law school. She basically just says, oh, I just received a letter from Oregon or whatever. So Liza considers her sister's various partners over the years have desensitized her parents to unimpressive boyfriends. And this is just in general. All of her sisters have had some partners.
Some losers here and there.
Losers.
She's like, they don't even gawk at my tattooed, jobless man.
Yeah. So Liza considers him a kind of a man-child. And since moving back to Chicago a year ago, Liza teaches psychology at University of Illinois, Chicago. And Ryan has been unemployed. So he's definitely, I don't want to say, he's definitely going through something in this book, but he has no ambition. He's not doing anything, which is probably just like fuel to the fire of his lack of confidence. Yeah. So Liza is kind of unhappy as well in the relationship, but feels bad as Ryan suffers from severe depression. Violet calls Wendy. Wendy tells Violet about Jonah, Violet's son.
The boy that she had at the
gave
restaurant.
up. Mm-hmm. She learned his adoptive parents died in a car crash when he was young, and he spent the rest of his life like in foster care, going from different families to different families. In 1975, so we like go back in time, it's just Marilyn. She's at a behavior science building at UIC, and she meets a man named David Sorenson, who she believes is a professor. Very first interaction is hilarious because she's like, you didn't give me the grade I deserve because I was talking about woman and sexuality and blah, blah, blah. And like, you're a horrible professor. And David's
feminism.
Like, yeah. And David's just like listening. And then he's like, I think you have me confused because he's not a professor. So she realizes he's not the professor, and he apologizes for misleading her and helps her find the professor that she's actually looking for. They become this beautiful little couple. In the present, we meet Hannah, the woman currently caring for Jonah. She is monitoring the meeting between Jonah and Violet because Violet decides she's going to meet him and she's going to talk to him. And so Hannah gets involved. Jonah is in ceramics class and displays his work. It's a really awkward interaction because
so rough.
Violet's like, obviously she feels I have to meet him. I birthed him, but I didn't want him. And now I'm confronted with it head on because he doesn't have a family. And I feel
Obligated.
a little bit of obligation to go and say hi and meet him and learn about what he's going through and maybe see if Hannah is a good woman. But Hannah's like, show Violet your ceramics. And he pulls out all these mugs and then he gives her a mug because Hannah's like, you should give her a mug. Even Violet has this way about her that seems pretty
Standoffish,
but it's also like classy.
Snooty.
Like he's like, she's comes from money. I can see that she has money. And I'm about to give her this handmade crafted mug
with a chip in it.
And he's like, this one seems right. Sure. And so he gives it to her and she's like, thanks. Here's $40. Let me pay you for it. And he's like, thanks.
It's so weird. I think she's taken aback too because she imagined this whole time like he's with a family, he has a mom and dad, people love him, he has a stable home, and then finding out he's just had this shit life because of her. She's struggling with it, but also in these moments, I was like, you are a mother of two little boys that you decided to keep and take care of. Why are you being so weird with him?
I feel
like
you
know how to be a mom.
I also feel like she's struggling though. She's struggling because she's like, I didn't want you. That's a hard thing to face. Like to look that person in the face.
I was gonna say you have to like look him in the eyes and know, and he has to know now that I gave you up.
Like,
but like
I
I'm
intentionally
here now.
did that.
Yes.
Yeah. And now I'm here and I'm like
just trying to reconcile
still don't
it all.
really want you, but I know that my sister threw us into this mess, and so I'm trying to make the best of it. Yeah, I don't.
It's just rough.
It was very rough moment, and even Violet talks about how like, oh, this is so cringy.
Yeah.
So Violet tells them about her law degree, but that she is not currently practicing, and confirms her mother runs the hardware store. She asks them not to tell her mother as she doesn't know the situation. So Violet ends up leaving, and Jonah thinks she'll never see him again, and Violet regrets paying Jonah for the mug. Hannah tells Violet she's leaving the country and can't take Jonah with her. So now Violet's angry with Wendy. Violet explains Jonah's situation to Wendy, and Wendy like offers to take Jonah in. She's like, I'll take him, fine. And Violet goes to tell her parents about her teenage son. Like, hey, you got to learn about this because he's about to go live with Wendy. I got to share my secrets.
Finally.
Years ago, she told them she was living in Paris, but she was really just at Wendy and Miles's house, pregnant.
5 miles down the road.
And then gave birth. And they like had this whole elaborate thing where they were even sending them letters from like shipping it to Paris, and someone in Paris was stamping it so that it would look like it was coming
Miles
from
had
out
a
of the
friend
country.
in Paris, and he was like rerouting the letters for her.
And every time they called him, they played like Parisian sounds in the background.
That's wild.
Yes, and then she gave birth and came back from Paris.
Yes.
Marilyn is upset that she didn't come to them. And then David offers to take Jonah in, but Violet says Wendy is going to care for him. And I think Marilyn's a little offended. Like, we raised 4 children. Wendy,
You don't think we can care for your
have you
son?
seen Wendy's life? Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing to her and to him? Okay, all right, sure. And even Violet is like, I think it'll be good for her. Okay. So Marilyn believes she's failed her daughters. David remembers something odd Wendy said at Violet's wedding years ago. He didn't think much about it at the time since Wendy was really drunk. Marilyn asks David if they focus too much on each other and not enough on their daughters, and that's why they're in this mess now. In 1976 to 1977, Marilyn and David have sex under the ginkgo tree.
Literally in front of her
whole
parents' house.
It's like so weird.
The way they described their relationship is they had a hard time keeping their hands off of each other.
Yes.
And it was kind of like...
But this was the first time they did it. Like she
This was
takes
the
his
first time.
virginity.
Yeah. Oh,
And it
yeah.
takes like some time. Like they've gotten, I mean, what? They met in 1975 and now it's 1976, 1977 and they are outside. And I feel like her dad is washing the dishes. They could kind of see him through the window. And she's like, nah, he won't notice. He's old.
Let's go on this side of the tree
like,
trunk.
it's okay. We'll totally be hidden. And then they start to get freaky. And out walks her dad, like, get up now. What are you doing? If your mother could see you, right?
Yes.
And he's just like, God damn it, I love this woman.
Yeah, right. Like, yes, but then out walks freaking dad. He's like, Marilyn,
sir?
get
Nice
your
to meet
dick
you.
out of my daughter. Anyways, so David gets accepted into medical school and then asks Marilyn to marry him and come with him.
And then we jump into part 2. Jonah and Violet. Violet goes to Hannah's to go pick him and his stuff up, and she's driving him to Wendy's. Wendy remembers being the first person to hold him and how she's saying to him. And Violet gets ready to leave, and Wendy's like, you guys should have dinner together. Like, Wendy is really just like,
Wendy's kind of being a bitch about it. Like, I don't care about whatever emotional damage this is doing to you. You should go have lunch with him. You should take him out. You should
invite him over to your house for dinner.
I mean, he is your son.
Yeah. So Jonah thinks he's walking around looking at her house and he's like, this bitch is loaded.
Because she's in
rich.
like a top floor apartment and it's
like a penthouse.
Yeah, it's like gigantic.
And so he asks about her parents, his grandparents, and she tells him that she's like, don't worry about them. They're going to love you. They're so excited to meet you. He's like kind of looking around and she's like, well, my husband's dead. He died of renal cancer. It's like, oh shit. She doesn't really talk about Miles to anybody else.
Yeah, she's like super open and like very
she talks to Miles all the time.
Right. But she doesn't talk about like, she will bring him up as if he's just like a presence, but she never talks about what happened to him unless she's talking to Jonah. Mm-hmm. Jonah's return causes a strain on Violet's marriage. She is recounting the day, like driving him to Wendy's, and like she's upset because he only had like a handful of bags of stuff, and she's like, his life is just so small. And she's like, honestly, I don't know anything about him. And her husband is like, yeah, exactly. He's a wild card. You don't know him. Mm-hmm. He's a damaged youth. So she asks if they can have Jonah over for dinner, and Matt is upset, feeling like she's not putting their family first. Liza and Ryan then go to her parents' house to tell them that she's pregnant. Liza cries and is like, no, these are tears of joy.
Doesn't sound like it in the moment.
Right. But privately, she's like, I need to tell my mom that I'm not okay. I want to talk to my dad. Like, I'm not excited. But David can sense it on her. And he's like, something is wrong, but I'm going to give her grace. Liza assures her father that she didn't know about Jonah. She's like, I am the absolute last person that these sisters tell anything to, so I didn't know. And then David is realizing that Liza seems like Marilyn when she was pregnant. Like, she's like, oh, you are definitely exhibiting some signs of being your mother's child. Wendy and Jonah talk about education and how she's going to pay for his college. Jonah starts getting used to how often she talks about Miles. Jonah does not remember much about his adoptive parents, which is so sad. They died when he was like 3 or 4. He was very young. When Jonah asks Wendy about his biological dad, and Wendy tells him basic information about the man she thinks may be his father, but Violet has never confirmed. Jumping back to 1977 and 1978, Marilyn and David are in Iowa while he's attending medical school. Some of her college credits did not transfer over, so she's kind of taking a step back in her college career. And then married life is not exactly how she imagined it, and she's upset, and she's like, I hate the green color in this kitchen. I'm going to paint it. He's going to love it. I'm going to feel better about living in this shitty house. So she's painting, and she like...
None of the windows are open.
She falls asleep in the scent of the paint, which I can only imagine in the 70s is full of lead.
Yeah, right.
And he like walks in from medical school panicked because she's asleep on the table. And then he gets mad that she made this decision without him. And after they fight, they make up and they conceive Wendy. Later, Marilyn is pregnant, and she's failing her classes, and they go out to dinner, and David's like, I will do your work for you. And she's like, actually, I've already dropped all my classes. It just makes the most sense because I'm not capable of doing it right now.
Yeah, she's exhausted. She just can't like keep it together.
Yeah.
Which she's also upset about. Like, you made this decision without talking through it. And she's kind of like, it was my decision to make. Obviously, he's disappointed because I think he feels like he uprooted her life.
Yeah.
She moved out this way for him. And now she's not getting all the things that she had aspired to get because of this relationship. He's taking on some of that.
Right.
That burden.
I think during this argument, too, they talk about like, well, because you're going to be a doctor and you're going to be the breadwinner now, like I'm pregnant, I can't do the things, we're going to have this kid soon. You need to be okay with me making decisions. I'm going to be at home.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to call you all day to make decisions. You have to trust me.
Tell him, Marilyn.
Eventually, Wendy is born, and Violet is born less than a year later.
Like, the very first time they get the approval to like, all right, you're good, you can have sex again. And like, bing, bang, boom, she's pregnant.
Wendy and Violet take Jonah to meet David and Marilyn, and he's amazed by the large houses in the family. He's like, God damn it.
These people are rich.
Yes. And he's afraid of their dog, Loomis.
Yeah, because it's a giant-ass dog.
And he's never really been around dogs,
right.
So he's scared. So during dinner, Jonah's overwhelmed by the chaotic family and takes a break in the bathroom. Looking outside, he sees Liza kissing a man in the car, and he assumes it's Ryan, something that he's heard about. Liza comes in the house, and Jonah's confused when Ryan doesn't come in as well. And he's like, well, who knows what the hell's going on with this family? Grace is disturbed by her life. Jumps into Grace's perspective. Talking to her parents, she learns about Jonah. Now, Grace is on like she's in like Seattle or something. She's on the
Oregon. or something.
West Coast. So David is researching tree disease to help the ailing ginkgo tree in their yard, and he finds honey fungus on the tree, and if it's in the roots, the tree may die. He, in his retirement, is so into like the different types of weeds and the growths on the tree, and he has just like funneled his energy into learning this since he can't be a practicing doctor anymore. So Violet and Jonah go get coffee, and he explains that Wendy enrolled him in Krav Maga, and he's like, it's a Israeli like
Something.
military training, and she's
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is Wendy doing?
Yeah.
But it's Krav Maga. Like, that's pretty prevalent in Southern California anyways. But he really likes living with Wendy, and Violet doesn't know how to feel about it. She's remembering talking to him when he was in utero. Then we flash back to 78 to 79. Violet is born right before Thanksgiving, and David wants to skip his father's house this year, and Wendy insists that he go and take Wendy. And his father recommends having a second Thanksgiving in a couple weeks once Marilyn has recovered. Hence the famous second Thanksgiving. In public with David's colleagues, Marilyn presents herself as being confident and tells them her life because they are asking about, like, how does it feel to be a mom? And she's like, it's the most fun I've ever had.
Yeah.
And then later she's like in the car home with David, and she's like, I can't, like, embarrassed.
She's like, I'm pretty sure I told him it was the most fun I ever had.
And she's embarrassed. And so they start repeating the phrase throughout their years, like during troubled times, like, oh, it's the most fun we've ever had, like being sarcastic.
Yeah.
In the present, Matt tells his boys, which are Wyatt and Eli, these are the kids he has with Violet, that they can't tell anybody in school about Jonah. And so at dinner, because their school, they go to a very high-end school, and the moms are all very catty and in each other's business. And they're like, what do you think is going to happen if these PTA moms find out that you had a child
Yeah,
in
do you
college?
want it to be in our child's life? Do you want it to be prevalent and like everyone to know in the school because they're all
Because they're going to talk. And
freaking housewives of Beverly Hills
Yeah.
or Chicago?
So at dinner, Jonah gets along well with Wyatt and Eli, and Matt is upset that Violet told the boys Jonah is their brother. Hearing Wyatt scream in the other room, Violet panics. And she runs in the room, and he was just excited because Jonah was doing a handstand. She immediately thinks, like, oh my God, Jonah's hurting them. Liza asks her mom if she's ever considered life without her father, and she says no. Liza realizes that her parents have always been in love. Marilyn sees that Liza is unhappy about something. Liza admits that she's worried about the genes Ryan could be passing on to their child. She's like, I know I haven't told you guys, but I'm sure you've seen him like missing holidays.
Yeah.
He's severely depressed, and I'm concerned he's going to turn my baby into an emo child. Like, I'm having to meter my life to fit around his episodes.
Yeah.
How am I going to do that with a man child and a baby? Like, I'm not going to be able to take care of both of them. Then we flash back to the 80s, 83 to 84. Marilyn thinks Wendy might be a sociopath. Wendy is a hard child.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I feel like it should have been the opposite, right? Isn't
It should have been Violet.
stereotypically the second born
middle
is
child?
Yes, but I don't know about Irish twins. Maybe she felt like she got her mommy ripped away too
yes,
soon.
I think she says later on in the book that she hated her from the day she was born, but it was because she took her throne away.
So usually she misbehaves when David isn't home, and then she acts like a sweet baby child when David's home. So when she's 5, Marilyn tells David, like, look, I am struggling and I am afraid of Wendy. Eventually, because she can't control her little tiny baby body, Wendy starts to act up when David's there, and he is realizing, like, oh, this is real. Like, so he starts being a disciplinary to Wendy as well. It's not just Marilyn. One day, Marilyn's like really having an emotional event about Wendy, and he's like, oh, fuck, she's pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
And
He like knows it before she does.
yeah, and she's like laying in bed, and he like goes and touches her stomach,
Like
and
you
he's
can
like,
see the little tiny like
Yes.
roundness of her belly that's forming. And
Yes.
he's like, oh shit, she doesn't even know it yet.
yeah, and she's like, clearly she's exhausted. What am I doing to my
Her
wife?
patience is thin. Yeah, and he really does like feel bad. Like
He's a good man.
he
is.
really is a
Yeah.
good man. He feels terrible. Like, how could I have done this to her again?
Liza is born, and she is an easy baby because he's like, please, God, we need an easy baby. In the present, Grace goes off to get coffee, and she starts talking to the barista, and she's like, he's kind of familiar. And then he's like, oh, I also deliver letters in my off time. She's like, that's where I know you. Grace believes she struggles more than her sisters do, but she's also significantly younger than her sisters. So her sisters are all full-ass adults with grown full lives, and she's like, I'm nothing. I haven't figured out my life yet.
Do you
She's
know what
like
my
just
brother
starting
had?
college.
Yeah, my brother had moments like that. Like, you have your whole life together. And I'm like, I'm 5 years older. It's not a huge difference. Like, I feel like hers is bigger than that.
Significant, yeah.
But even that amount, it's like, the amount that I learned from 25 to 30 was massive. Like, you have time, right?
Yeah. Meanwhile, Liza gets a new obstetrician, and her name is Jillian. She was her mom's obstetrician when she was pregnant with Grace. And she
asks her dad, like, I want someone trusted that I know.
Like, I have so much uncertainty I'm feeling right now about my pregnancy. I just want something familiar. And so I'm going to ask Jillian. And Jillian used to work with her dad. And he's like, yes, if that's your choice, but let me tell your mom.
Which David?
David. So during one of her appointments with Jillian, she's like, so did you have an affair with my dad? Jillian is fucking livid. She's like, nobody has ever accused me.
Well, and the book does give this vibe like, oh, Jillian
Something
and Dad,
happened.
something happened.
Liza talks about, like, I remember my parents arguing and that name coming up often. And I remember
Jillian was a lifesaver, and then she was someone that was not a lifesaver.
And it was causing my parents to fight, and her name came up in those fights.
So then we go to David and Marilyn. They're celebrating their 40th anniversary. And David doesn't believe anyone has ever loved someone as much as he loves Marilyn. And when Marilyn first got pregnant, he knew he would die for his daughter, but he would always love Marilyn more. Then we jump into the past, 84 to 85. Marilyn's father dies, and they inherit the house with the ginkgo tree. But she's like, we have 3 children. We're drowning in this tiny house. Like, we need space, David.
Yeah.
And it's in an upscale, nicer neighborhood. And they're going to be like the poor family in the rich neighborhood. But he's a fucking doctor. So anyways, he agrees to move.
Still, I mean, I guess it's not.
It's the beginning of he doesn't start making significant money until he goes into private practice.
Yeah.
So in the present, Jonah's concerned about Wendy's drinking, and
which he should be.
Yeah, she drank a lot. And like one night he's like, oh, do you want me to grab you a bottle of wine? And she's like, why the fuck would you ask me that?
And he's like, come outside with me, Jonah. And he's like, okay, do you want me to grab some wine for you? She's like, what? Just come outside. Why is that your first go-to question?
Yeah.
He's like, well.
And so later she calls David and asks if Jonah can go live with them. And then Violet calls Wendy upset about uprooting Jonah again. Wendy and Violet fight. Wendy saying Violet is somehow able to convince people that she is normal, but she's really messed up. Like, Wendy just keeps throwing it out like, you're so fucked up, Violet. Like, I don't know how you're functioning and why people think you're normal. Like, you're not. You're just as messed up as I am.
And so then we start part 3. Wendy is driving Jonah to her parents' house, and she tells him it's nothing personal. She just thinks that this will work out better. Marilyn asks Jonah if she should wake him up. Marilyn's kind of excited, like, oh, okay, like, hi, honey, like, how are you? You know, and she goes,
she's like ready to be mom again.
Yes. Like, it's been a while, but like, I'm excited to have a teenager in the house. Like, it's going to be so much fun. And
it's
so
only
she's
been a few years, but like, she's ready for it.
Yes. And so she's like, okay, you know, you have school in the morning. What time do you need to wake up? And he's like, 7:30. And she's like, okay, do you want me to wake you up? And he's like, I have an alarm. She's like, yeah, but in case it doesn't go off, what's the latest I should wake you up? And he's like, kind of weirded out by it.
At first he is, but then he's like, I've never had anybody care about waking me up before.
Yeah. So while he can walk to school, she tells him that David can drive him. Both Marilyn and David offer to help him with his homework. They're like just full on like, okay, we're doing it.
Like, we're dedicating to be a parent. We're being your parent.
Yes. And you're our grandson, so we're going to make sure we take care of you.
Yes.
So then we jump into 1992, 1993. Marilyn and David decide to have another baby. Girls are out there playing, and they're kind of like sitting there staring, and they're like, man, these girls have really grown. And they kind of look at each other, and they're like, we should do it again. And they do.
Yeah, they sure do.
And so she gets pregnant, and Jillian becomes Marilyn's doctor. And Marilyn is uncomfortable with her being David's colleague. But David misses one appointment, and Marilyn confides in Jillian that she's feeling lonely and exhausted. Like, she's just going through the gamut of emotions of being pregnant, and her husband's busy. And she has a moment of vulnerability, and she starts crying to Jillian because David couldn't come. He had something to do, but he does end up walking in like last minute and catches her crying kind of. And she's like, what? He's like, what's wrong? But she like shakes it off. So then the family goes out to eat to celebrate Wendy joining a play. Wendy is trying to tell the family about her experience, but Marilyn is going into labor. Wendy's kind of pissed off, right? Because she's trying to tell them about, you know, how everything went, and Marilyn's like, we need to go. So tonight is the first time Wendy purposely skips a meal. That's the first time she starts to really like realized I don't need to
She's like,
eat,
"My
and
mom
nobody
is
noticed
so
it.
perfect. And yeah.
And so later, Grace is born, and Marilyn suffers some pretty crazy injuries from the birth.
She almost dies.
Yes.
Yeah.
David, he cries holding Grace, thinking he endangers his wife's life by deciding to have another child. He's like, man, I was so selfish. I wanted her to have this baby again, and I almost killed her.
Or she doesn't know if she's going to survive at that point.
Yeah. So the girls come to visit, and David goes to the bathroom where Wendy hears him crying. He's really having a hard time with it. Then we jump to present day. Violet and Matt begin arguing about little things, loading the dishwasher, like just the stupidest things in the house. And Violet realizes she tried to make the opposite decision of her mother, but she is no happier.
Like her mom decided to have kids and not go to school. And Violet decided to go to school and have a career, and now she's deciding to be a stay-at-home. I'm like, I did all the opposite
The reason
things.
why I gave up Jonah was because I didn't want to turn up like my mom. And here I am.
I did the opposite things, and I'm not happier for the decisions that I
Yeah.
made.
I'm not working. I'm at home with 2 kids.
Yes.
I'm not happy. Like I still landed exactly where my mom was.
Yeah.
I'm just educated.
Yeah. Yeah. So then in 1993, Wendy is embarrassed by her parents. She asks her mom to buy her another homecoming dress because the one they purchased is too big. She's concerned about Wendy's weight because she's noticing she's starting to get kind of thin. But Wendy just tells her she's fine. And when David comes home that night, Marilyn tells him that Wendy came home drunk from her school dance. So then Jonah meets Ryan and realizes that Liza was kissing someone else in the car that day. It like dawns on him like, oh, you're not the guy that she was with. So Ryan and Jonah talk, and Jonah thinks that Ryan and Liza are in an open relationship because he's talking about...
Poor Jonah, man.
He's really like just
He's
an
like,
unassuming...
I just brought you wine because you always drink wine. And now Wendy's like,
Get
you're
out.
pulling my covers, dude.
Yeah.
Get out of this house. And then
Yes.
he's like, oh, you're not the guy that Liza was making out with.
I forget what Ryan says to him, and he's like,
He's
but-
like bragging that they're not like, we're together, but we're not married, not like the other
yes.
sisters.
We are like
We're
the cool
progressive.
couple. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, so how is it to be in like an open relationship? And he's like, what are you talking about?
Why
We're
the
not
fuck
in an
would you
open
say that,
relationship.
kid?
yeah.
Yes. When Ryan asks why he would say that, Jonah tells him about seeing Liza kissing another man. And he doesn't do it like intentionally to like hurt their relationship. He's just being honest. Like,
He's
it's
just
what
a
I saw. And I
15-year-old
think
He,
he
like,
doesn't
he
know.
like gets caught, right? He's like, why are you assuming that we have an open relationship? And
Yeah.
Jonah's kind of like, and he's like, did you see Liza with someone
Yes.
else? And he's like, I mean,
Kinda.
and then he's like, who was it? Was he young? Was he
Oh,
old?
does he
What
wear
kind of car was
glasses?
he?
Did he-
Yeah.
Yeah.
He described her, the guy that
Yes.
she was with.
Yes.
Like, I knew it.
In 1994, 1995, it's Grace's preschool graduation, and Wendy refuses to go. Marilyn's like, let's just get all the girls together. Like, Grace would really want you there. And Wendy's like, no, I'm not going.
I
And
have
they
other plans.
They get until she's like, your typical teenage daughter just not listening. And she tells her you're grounded.
Yeah.
And she leaves anyways.
Yeah.
And
I can't. Oh my gosh. I don't have a teenager, but I feel like I have thought a lot about having a teenager someday. And this is the moment I dread where you like, I can't control you because you're a full person. And what am I going to do? Carry you? Like, I don't know how I would react. And Wendy is very much so just like, no, I'm not going. I just told you I had plans. And she's like, you're grounded. And then they like turn around and are getting Grace ready. And then out walks Wendy, like, have so much fun. She's like, where are you going? I told you were grounded. She's like, and I told you I had plans already. And she walks out the door. Like,
she's like, if you walk out that door, and she's like, bye.
Yeah.
She's like, tell me all about it later, right, Goose? Because that's what they call
Yeah.
her, right?
Yeah.
And
but
I
like,
I literally was like, oh my God, I would murder you.
I don't, how do you, I don't know.
I don't
how
know,
I'd
but
react,
just wait till you get home. Go do your thing, but you're going to freaking hear about it when you get back because I'm going to murder you. Chop off your limbs and you'll never go anywhere again.
You'll be
You will
limbless.
Yes. So when they get back from the ceremony, Marilyn walks in and she finds Wendy having sex with Aaron Bargava. Marilyn's kind of disappointed because she thought her daughters would have been more open about this stuff with her, but she didn't know Wendy was sexually active. So then one night Wendy comes home, she's drunk, and she asks to sleep in her mom's bed. Like, she goes out to a party with their friends and she's super lethargic. Like, you can smell the booze on her. And it's odd that she wants to lay in bed with her, but her mom's like, you know what? You want to snuggle with me? You haven't done this in a really long time. So the fact that
here
you're
for
drunk
it.
is something that we're going to fight about tomorrow. Like, tonight's not the night.
Yeah.
And so then the next morning, she can't wake her up. And
That's so scary.
yes, Liza's trying to talk to Ryan as he packs his car. He's heading to the Upper Peninsula for work, and she's hurt but relieved. Like, he finally realizes, like, look, we're clearly not happy. I'm not going to cheat on you, but this isn't it. We can't do this. So I have a friend in the Upper Peninsula who can help me with the job. I'm just going to go do that.
It was an option before, but I didn't want to leave you and the baby.
Yes.
So now it just makes sense.
Yes. And she's hurt by it because she kind of wanted to control the situation and be the one that ended it. And now that he's ending it, she's kind of like, wait, that's not how this was supposed to work. You're the one that was depressed and
you're gonna be a
unmotivated.
dad. You don't get to just move across the country. Like,
But she is kind of relieved, like, okay, well, I kind of wanted this.
Cool.
but
We're
this-
done.
Yeah.
like
My
I
life
wanted
is
it
free.
to be over, but I didn't want my child to grow up without a father.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she also was like, I also don't think I can take care of a baby and take care of you. Like, you clearly can't
man-child.
take care of yourself. Yeah. So then in 1995, Marilyn and David are in the hospital with Wendy, and Marilyn refuses to leave her side. She was doing drugs and alcohol and all the things. It was a terrible combination.
Has the eating disorder, which is
Yes.
amplifying all the things.
Yes. And they're starting to realize, they're looking at her and like, your eyes are sunken in,
Well,
like
and
your
that's one of the
bones are
things she
sticking
said.
out.
I
I
can
can see your
Sees when-
spine.
That's one of
Yes.
the things she says she notices when she walks in on them having sex is she's seeing her daughter naked.
Yes.
And
She could see
she's
her rib
clearly
cage.
smaller than I even realized.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
But she doesn't know what to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So then they're at the hospital and they kind of start to fight because David realizes that his desire for Wendy to be okay is stronger than his love for Marilyn. And he tells her, like, let's go, we need to eat. They have a whole fight. But then in the present, Marilyn tells her she's the strongest of the four sisters and she could have been more affectionate to her as a child. And when Wendy tells Marilyn to look in a drawer of her headache medicine, Marilyn sees some files and one is labeled Ivy, which lists a date of death. Marilyn regrets not paying more attention to Wendy and contributing to her eating disorder.
Well, it's also kind of beautiful because Marilyn and Wendy have had this horrible relationship their whole life. Like they just butt heads. They don't.
They misunderstand each other
A lot.
constantly.
Well, it's
Yeah.
almost like they are the same feisty person,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it's very hard to parent yourself.
Yeah.
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 And so she feels touched because she always thinks that Wendy doesn't like her, but she knew the baby's name was Ivy, but the middle name was Marilyn. And so she's like, has this moment of emotional connection where she's like, my daughter
Loves
likes
me.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then in 1996, David calls off his clinic shift to go to dinner with Jillian. Meanwhile, Violet works hard to get into college and she asks Marilyn why she never finished school. When she keeps pressing her mom, Marilyn tells her that the things are not as black and white as Violet believes them to be. She's like, it's not all you think. Like, you just don't get to do one or the other. It just doesn't
Yeah.
work like that. So then Liza shows up at Wendy's house to tell her that Ryan left. And Liza admits that she doesn't know if she wants him back. Wendy says their parents are so happy it makes her consider putting her head in the oven. And Liza tells her that people would understand if she did. Grace has a crush on Ben, which is the barista. And she
Slash delivery boy.
yeah. She stopped talking to her family as frequently. And when her mom calls to ask her about Christmas, Grace tells her that she's going skiing. She's like, we're
Like,
going
I
in
have
the
to
Alps.
live this-
And she's like, the
this
Alps? You're going to
lie.
Switzerland? And she's like, or Aspen? And she's like, oh, okay. Well, I guess it sounds like fun.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, which one's closer?
Yeah. She's like, oh, silly
That
me.
one.
Like, I don't know which one it is. But she's like, it's not true. But she doesn't want to lie to their faces that she isn't in law school. So then it jumps to 1996. David and Jillian have been having dinner together frequently. They're both attracted to each other, but agree that it cannot go anywhere. I think Jillian like kind of puts her hand on his leg and she's like kind of pushing her luck. Like, okay, is this more than I think it is? And David even tells her like, I like you, but I'm married. Like I can't do anything. He's emotionally cheating and she's trying to take it a little further and he stops it.
I love Maryland.
And
But you
so
put
then-
yourself there, fucking David.
Yep.
Get
And
your
so
ass home.
then they agree that it can't go anywhere. David stops it. And when he gets home, Marilyn confronts him because she called at the office. And the office is like, oh, he's not here.
He canceled volunteering
Yeah.
for weeks now.
Yeah, he hasn't been volunteering for a long time. And so she's pissed. And after Marilyn falls asleep, he goes in and sees that she's been crying. They have this whole fight. And she basically tells him, like, it's not even that you were having dinner with this girl. It's that you chose to go have a peaceful night with somebody else who wasn't me. I'd love to talk to you about the chaos that's going on in our house. I'd love to have this connection with you, but you're doing it with somebody else. But she does it so like strong and like well put together, and she waits to cry until she goes to bed. And when he comes to bed, because she tells him to sleep on the couch, and he's like, what am I supposed to tell the kids? Because they've never slept apart. And she's like, tell them we had a fight.
Tell them you went to dinner with Jillian.
Yeah, you deal with it, right?
You fucking think of that now,
Yes.
dude.
And so he does come like sneak into the bed, and that's when he finds her that her face is all puffy and she's been crying. And he realizes that the load that Marilyn bears every day taking care of the family is way more than he thinks. So then Wyatt is preparing for the Star of the Week performance. He asks if Jonah can come, and then Violet makes excuses. She doesn't know why she doesn't like their relationship. Like, she kind of gets upset, like Wyatt likes Jonah, and she's pissed off about it, and she doesn't want him coming to the performance. She's like, no, it's weird. He doesn't need to be there. But
because then
Wyatt
she'd have
really
to
likes
explain him to the moms.
Yeah. So then Violet and Wyatt practice their song because she's going to join him because he's too scared to do it alone. So then in 1996...
Which would be so weird. Wouldn't that be weird? All right, my son's going to do this talent show, and now mom's going to walk up there on stage with you and sing a song with you.
What's weird to me is that the preschool, you have to do a performance when you're Star of the Week.
Yeah, I guess
that
that's true
whole
too.
thing was weird. So I'm like, it doesn't make, because I mean, schools nowadays, they require a lot of parental participation when they're younger.
Okay.
So it didn't like completely sound weird that she had to go up there and help support him. It's weird to me that they're like, all right, instead of like you get to lead the line or do something like we're going to have a concert for the entire school and you get to perform.
You get to be the star.
This week. That means they're having a fucking thing every week for all of the kids. That's ridiculous.
So then in 1996, Marilyn knows that David would never cheat on her, but she still doesn't know how to react to what she has learned about Jillian. So she decides to go to the David's office and she wants to talk to Jillian,
And she's opened up to Jillian, who was...
I confided in you. And
Yeah,
here you are.
You saved my
lonely
life after
and
delivering this
And
baby.
you told me how much my husband loves me. So what are you doing?
Yes. Jillian assures her there was nothing physical that happened.
Except my hand on his thigh.
And then I asked, and he said no, which is why nothing physical happened.
Yes. Afterwards, Marilyn goes to David's father's home to help him. And he tells her that Wendy has been coming to visit him since she was released from the hospital. And Wendy doesn't want to go to college. And her mother tells her she will pay to watch Grace.
Like she just wants to keep her close.
Yeah.
She's terrified.
Yeah.
So then Liza stays with her parents to watch Jonah while her parents go out of town. They text Liza telling her to call them immediately because Liza was like caught up. She had a bunch of stuff going on and he needed to go to school. And so she's like, you know what,
Pregnancy brain.
just use my car and I'll ride the bus or whatever she had to do.
Yeah.
And they are like, call me immediately because Jonah's been in a car accident. And
he's at the police
and
station.
they at the police station and they're like, why would you let him borrow your car? He's 15.
Yeah.
And she's like, it didn't even cross my
I
mind.
didn't even think about it.
Yes.
They're like, he doesn't even have like a learner's permit. Like nothing. You just gave him a car.
She said, here, take my car.
Well, and then he's sitting there at the police department like, I'm fucked.
Yes.
Like, I stole their car. I'm a terrible kid. But she, like, runs in and she's like, oh, my God, are you okay? And he's like, oh, you're not mad at me?
Like you're asking if I'm all right?
And she's like, it's my fault. And he's like,
All right.
this is new.
Yeah.
I mean, technically it is. He should have said, like, I don't have my license. But he was like, okay.
Okay.
But he's not used to adults
Giving
which
him
makes
that
me
much freedom.
sad for the system. But no, not giving that much freedom, but taking ownership of their actions
Oh,
and protecting him.
Yeah. So then David's father dies. David realizes that he and his wife are both orphans now. And Grace asks him what death means. And Wendy asks to be one of her grandfather's
Which this is in the past, right?
Yeah.
This isn't like present. All right, so now we're in my part 4. Violet asks Jonah over for a pre-Christmas dinner. Wyatt, the son, insists on performing his song at dinner. Wyatt asks Jonah to come to Star of the Week. And Jonah is hurt when Violet explains again that he can't. Like, it doesn't even give Jonah time to answer. It's just like, no, he can't. Sorry, honey. Wyatt wants Jonah to put him to bed and asks Jonah if Santa is real. He's not wanting to lie. He's like, I appreciated when adults were honest with me, so I'm going to be honest with you. And then Violet overhears and becomes enraged because he was like, well, not really. And she's like, good night, Wyatt. Come on, Jonah. And like takes him out and unloads on him. Matt walks out like, what's going on? He understands, but then he ends up driving Jonah home because she's like, you got to get out of here. I can't believe you would tell a 5-year-old or 6-year-old that Santa isn't real. Who are you?
Right, but Matt understands. He's like, he's not in the wrong. Like, you need to calm the fuck down, Violet.
Yeah,
He
like,
didn't,
I
like-
get that you're upset about it, but also he didn't know that he wasn't supposed, like, this is his first instance with a child, most likely. Like, calm down.
And he was super like sweet about it. He wasn't like,
He started telling him about like the feeling of Christmas or
Yes.
like the thought about it, not so much like Santa, the person. Well, yeah, he's not real.
yeah, I think he says like, well, he's not real, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like he doesn't fully tell him no.
Yeah.
So now we're in 1998, and Wendy finds an apartment and moves out. Marilyn realizes Grace is getting older, and when she sees the hardware store for sale, she ends up buying it. Meanwhile, Wendy enrolls in a continuing education class and meets Miles, who is her teacher. Wendy pursues Miles, and then he's like, I can't be with you. You're my student. She's like, I'll drop your class tomorrow. Let me be with you, right? And they
And he doesn't fight
He's
it.
like,
He's like,
"Okay."
okay, baby girl.
So she drops his class in order to ethically date him. She's impressed that he teaches at community college, but he comes from money. So he doesn't need to really even work almost. He's got this gorgeous house, and she's like,
I've made it.
I've made it. Look at me. Come up. My comeuppance. Ben and Grace have been hanging out, and he drops by on Christmas. Grace, he's kind of like, why aren't you there? Like, didn't you go see your family? I'm here because I don't want to be alone on Christmas. But why didn't you go see your family? And so she does tell him the truth, but she lacks the self-confidence. And when Grace realizes that Ben is flirting with her, she doesn't feel worthy of him. And then he gets upset by it, that she's putting herself down, and so he ends up leaving. But the whole conversation is weird. He's like, why can't I just like you? Why can't I take you on a date? I feel like I can't even ask you to go on a date because you're so
offended.
He's so offended.
It's so dumb.
Why?
so dumb.
Why won't you just let me?
Why
love
are you treating me like a weirdo because I like you?
Yeah.
You think I'm defective? No, I just have self-confidence issues. It's not about you.
Yeah, she's a little bit broken. So he ends up leaving, though. She's like, what just happened? Wendy and Liza chat with Marilyn, and Wendy tells Marilyn she has never met a couple as in love as Marilyn and David. But she also kind of talks, when she talks to her mom, there's always jabs. Oh, no one can be your perfect selves. And she kind of
almost like her mom and dad made this unrealistic love story for them to follow.
Yeah. So then Liza tells Marilyn they all want her life because she found a love that's just unrealistic almost. In 2000, Marilyn is talking and joking with her 3 eldest daughters when Gracie walks in. When Marilyn says they are having girl time, Grace gets upset because she's a girl too. And they make her go back to bed, and Wendy's like, I'll take her. Liza decides to get a tattoo near her spinal cord. It becomes infected, and then she's got to tell her dad, I got a tattoo, but I think there's something wrong with it. And he's like, it's definitely infected. Why would you get a tattoo on your spinal cord? It's connected to all these things, right? He's a doctor, and he goes into it, and he's like, okay, I'm going to take care of it. And then he lets her know that she's free to tell her mother, but he will not. That's their secret. And it's up to you. It's your body if you want to tell your mom, but you probably need antibiotics. So Wendy and Miles get married, which makes Wendy feel like her life is finally on track. But Violet calls her upset. In the present, Violet and her mom have a tense conversation about Christmas dinner. Violet gets angry and then accuses her mother of being okay with constant chaos, to which Marilyn replies that her ability to handle chaos is why Jonah is not in foster care. Violet falls asleep exhausted.
But she does lay down on the kitchen floor and
I know
pass
what's
out.
wrong. I thought the whole time, the way that Violet was acting made me feel like, is she pregnant? Right? Because her mood swings were crazy. She is exhausted all the time. She takes a nap and we're about to see, she misses her son's thing. I'm like, what is going on in her life that is making her act like this?
Yeah, I didn't know what was wrong with her. I thought it was an emotional,
But there's nothing wrong with her.
No, I just think the way her mind works.
She's dramatic is kind of how I took it for a while.
She thinks Wendy's dramatic, but she is dramatic as well.
Yeah. Jonah shows up for Star of the Week. He just decides to come, doesn't care what Violet's going to say. But then Violet is not there. And so it causes Wyatt to panic because his mom's supposed to be on stage with him.
It's I don't know the songs.
So they're like, oh, thank God, Jonah, you're here. We don't know where Violet is or Matt or whatever. And so even these people are like, who are you? Jonah tells adamant that he's White's brother, and White convinces him to sing with him so he doesn't go on stage alone. Matt is furious when he finds out. He's upset with Violet because he's like, where the hell is she? And then he realizes she didn't attend Star of the Week, and he explains he didn't make it either, but Jonah was there. So he like finally gets a hold of Violet on the phone, and she's like, I fell asleep.
Because he's like, I thought you died. Like, why would you miss our son's
Like her
spring?
phone was on vibrate. It was like under a towel. Like just
because she's passed out on the
all
kitchen
things.
floor napping because
Yes.
she's so exhausted from all of these emotions she's
But
feeling.
he's like, well, Jonah said you got stuck in traffic, and
Yeah.
I got stuck in
he
traffic.
made up this whole
He was trying to
thing.
comfort Wyatt, and he just freaked out.
Of course, your mom wants to be here, but she can't. She's stuck in traffic, so she asked me to come, and now I'm here. Let's go perform. And he performs on stage with Wyatt and kind of saves the day, which Violet appreciates, but also it pisses her off. Jonah tells David he will be in a regional Krav Maga tournament, and David wants to come. The ginkgo tree is dead, and so David is impatient, and he needs to go out and remove it. So he climbs the tree. Well, he climbs up a ladder, and he's like removing the branches, and then he starts to like realize he's having a heart attack. This moment is pure chaos because he's like talking to Jonah. He recognizes he's starting to have a heart attack. He's got a chainsaw in his hand, and he's on a ladder.
And he's trying not to scare Jonah.
So he's calmly telling Jonah, like, I need you to grab the ladder. And then the dog comes outside, and Jonah's afraid of the dog. So he gets all scared, and he runs away. And David is like trying to like, I'm having a heart attack. I've got to get rid of this chainsaw. I'm about to fall off a ladder. And then he tells Jonah to tell Marilyn that she's the most fun I've ever had as he falls from the ladder. This is the only part of the story that made me cry. So it goes back to 2000 to 2001. Violet is pregnant and believes she needs to have an abortion. But Wendy tells her she doesn't always need to do what's expected of her. And then is like, what do you want to do? Have the baby if you want it. The two decide to tell their parents Violet is in Paris, but she'll really be living with Wendy and Miles. At full term, Violet is contemplating keeping the baby rather than placing him for adoption. But then her water breaks. Now back today, Marilyn remembers being terrified when she found out that she was pregnant with Wendy. Now she's terrified of losing David. Jonah feels like he failed his family. David is in a coma. He had a heart attack. He's got a broken arm, a couple broken ribs because he fell from a ladder. And Jonah's like, it's because I couldn't do anything to help him.
I should have held the ladder. I shouldn't have been scared of the dog.
Yeah. So Jonah feels like he failed. And so he did end up calling Marilyn. He called 911, but he didn't want to go in the ambulance with David. Instead, he steals David's car and starts heading out west.
Yeah, because I think she tells him, anytime you go east, you're going to hit the lake. So he's like, I need to go west. No matter what I do, I just got to go west.
I got an aunt over
He's
here
like, I got an
somewhere.
aunt.
Yeah.
2001, Wendy is there during Violet's labor. When Jonah is born, it's just Violet and Wendy. And when Jonah is born, Violet's too scared to even see him. She doesn't even want to look at him. And she's definitely not going to keep him. So Wendy holds him. She asks, like, are you okay if I hold him? And she marvels at how perfect he was. Like, he's this perfect little baby human. The family back in today realizes that Jonah is missing. Violet tells them that Jonah is a nice kid, and Wendy replies that they all knew that, only Violet didn't. So Liza holds out hope that her dad will be okay because he has to meet her baby. She's about to go into labor. Wendy goes outside and runs into Aaron Bargava, her ex-boyfriend from
The washing machine boy.
Washing Machine Boy, who treated all of his he was a good kid.
Yeah.
He
was kind
liked
to
him. Like, they didn't think he was a bad kid.
He was kind to the other sisters. And
Yes, he was
too kind, perhaps.
Yeah. Aaron is with his wife and daughter, and Wendy lies saying that she's there with her husband who injured his wrist. Jonah texts Wendy saying he would return the car. And then Grace is stuck out west because nobody offered to buy her a plane ticket home because her mom's obviously busy taking care of her dad. And she's like, I don't have money to buy a plane ticket.
And none of her sisters were like, Grace should be here right now.
And nobody's talking to her. She doesn't really know what's going on with her dad. She's like, send me a freaking message. And so she's just stuck out there. And then all of a sudden, Jonah arrives at her door. Going back to 2002, Violet meets Matt. She tells Matt about Jonah, and he expresses regret at not being able to be there for her during that rough time. So Jonah and Grace go to a pub, and he explains to Grace what happened to David. Grace tells him about her recent fight with Ben and how, like, oh, I just messed that up, but he was a good guy. Then Jonah asks about the bartender. He's like, well, is Ben the bartender? Because he's been looking at you all night. And he asks Grace about his dad, but she's like, I don't know. I remember that there's this one person who was a douche. And so Grace confesses she isn't in law school and that she's been lying about it. She's only told now Ben and now Jonah. And Jonah tells Grace that the bartender likes her. And then he goes back. He's like, I'm going to go back to your place and maybe sleep, whatever. But you should probably explore that.
He's kind of mature for his age because
he's been through a lot.
Yeah.
So Jonah goes back to Grace's place, and Grace is like, I'm sticking around at the bar. I'm going to go talk to this bartender. Anyway, so Jonah goes back to Grace's apartment, and someone knocks on the door, and it's Ben, and it's really late. It's like after midnight or something, and he shows up really late, and then he tells him Grace is not home, and you don't want me to tell you where she is because you could probably figure it out, right? Like, and Ben's like, oh. But he does say like, oh, you must be Jonah, and he feels like, oh,
she talked about me.
She talked about me. Yeah. Like I'm important enough in someone's life for me to have never met this person, and she talked about me. And so then he like is trying to give Ben a hard time, and he's like, she's not coming back because you're a jerk, right? That kind of a thing. And Ben immediately is just like, oh, okay. And he like walks away, and he's like, oh, this guy's a little more sensitive than I thought he would be. And now he's like, I messed this up too. And it's officially his 16th birthday. He opens an envelope that he stole from David. Like he saw it, it has his name on it. So I feel like stole is kind of wrong, but also it wasn't given to him. He found it. It had his name on it. He grabbed the envelope, and it's a letter from David with some money in it. It has $100 and a note from David. Jonah is upset that Violet will never accept him the way he wants her to. And so he leaves. Grace gets back after losing her virginity to the bartender. She calls Wendy. She realizes Jonah's not there. And she decides to tell Wendy, like, this is the truth. I just slept with a bartender. I've never slept with anyone. And Jonah's missing. And Wendy's like,
didn't get
what?
into law school. Like, she just dumps on. Wendy is the point of contact for all of the dumping.
And Wendy's like, what is happening? She's like, none of you guys are telling me what's going on. It's like, you called me either. So anyways, so then back in 2005, Wendy becomes pregnant. And at 30 weeks, she panics because the baby hasn't moved. She learns at the doctor that the baby no longer has a heartbeat. She tells Miles not to tell her parents yet, but call Violet, because Violet is the only one she wants in the hospital room. She's got to deliver this 30-week-old baby that has the stillborn. So she and Miles, she gives birth because Violet's not answering. And she gives birth, and she and Miles hold their daughter. Violet eventually does arrive. The baby's already been taken away. So mom and dad come, and then Violet walks in. It's like, the baby's already gone. And so Wendy's super upset. And then she notices the engagement ring on Violet's finger. So while she was giving birth to her daughter, her stillborn daughter, Violet was getting engaged.
Which is not necessarily her fault.
No, it's not her
She
fault.
had no idea she was getting engaged that night.
They have moments that they don't vocalize what about it is hurting them.
Yeah.
Which
sure.
I think is very
Life.
reminiscent of family dynamics.
Yeah. It was just like, I held your baby and I wanted you to hold mine.
Yes.
And then we jump into the last part of chapter 4, chapter 27 through the epilogue. Jonah calls Wendy and tells her that he's in like a jail. And she's like, oh, like a jail. Is that jail adjacent? Like she just starts making fun
He's
of
like,
him.
I'm in a jail. She's like, a jail? You're just in any old jail? A jail? How is it in a jail?
But he's in Montana. So David's finally out of the hospital. Once he was released from the hospital, and he and Marilyn argue. They're arguing about like him. She's like, I'm not an invalid. She's like, you just had a fucking heart attack and we're in a coma. You're going to lay your ass down here and let me take care of you. And then Liza calls, and she's in labor. And Marilyn is the only one to go to the hospital with her. So in 2006, Violet and Matt hold their wedding at Marilyn and David's house. And Wendy gets drunk and tells David Violet has a big secret and that she's not perfect. David asks Miles if he should be worried about Wendy, and Miles can't answer. In 2010 to 2011, Miles develops cancer. Wendy apologizes to Miles for all the way. Like, she realizes, like, I've been pushing everyone away since we lost the baby. And I'm so sorry I've been doing that to you. And so they lay together and express all of their love for each other. This is still during that time Violet's trying to figure out how to feel after the birth of Wyatt. She remembers failing to show up for Wendy for Ivy's birth and feels guilty knowing that she never intended on being there for Wendy's birth. She calls Wendy to tell her about Wyatt being born, and Wendy comes with flowers. Wendy holds the baby, but then she gets sick and has to leave. As Miles' symptoms worsen, Wendy is his caretaker, and she's surprised that she's not repulsed by cleaning and taking care of him. And she's like, this is what it feel like to be a parent, because I have so much love for him. I don't care that I'm cleaning up his shitty sheets.
Yeah.
They experience 1 year where he feels better. He like seems to be on the mend. Then it jumps to the present. Wendy flies to get Jonah and they drive home. Jonah explains that he thought everyone would be better off without him. He feels responsible for the things that happened in the family. Ryan leaving Liza, Grace and Ben breaking up, and then David like falling off of the ladder because I couldn't be there to hold it. I was scared of a dog. And he tells Wendy he called her because he knew she would come. And Wendy tells Jonah about Ivy and apologizes for sending him to her parents' house. She tells him that nobody would be better off without him. And then in 2011, Marilyn and David come home to a quiet house after dropping Grace off at college. Matt is concerned about Violet's postpartum, and she has like a rough day, and she's like thinking like, I could really do some shit to this baby, like, and nobody can stop me. I'm just a big person. She's like, this is the wrong thought. So she calls Matt and she's like, I need help. She goes to the doctor. They give her a prescription. And then she comes home and she's like, I wasn't going to hurt him. I just like, it was a thought and it scared me.
And he's like, I never would think that you would hurt him, but you are also not being yourself.
Yeah. In the present, Marilyn, David, Wendy, and Jonah have dinner. Marilyn tells Jonah that his behavior is irresponsible. Like she's getting ready to ground him. And Jonah was lucky that he got pulled over. And Wendy was like, he's not lucky. I hired someone to go find him. Like, we were getting his ass back whether you wanted it or not.
And Jonah's like, what?
So Jonah gets grounded. And after dinner, David apologizes to Jonah for him witnessing his heart attack. And it was a really, like, Jonah's just like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, I wanted to apologize. That must have been really scary for you.
Yeah, he's like, I have been a doctor for years and I've helped a ton of people that have had heart attacks. I have never actually seen one happening. So I'm sure that was scary.
Yeah. But he does reassure him and he's like, you saved me. I wouldn't have survived if you hadn't have been there and made those phone calls for me. So as Wendy considers David's failure to meet Kit, because at that point too, they're all announced like, oh, David hasn't met Liza's daughter yet. Wendy's like, why the fuck not?
Yeah.
She thinks about Violet's refusal to say goodbye to Miles. And suddenly she realizes that Jonah's father is actually Aaron, her ex-boyfriend.
Like, sees it. Like, you have his eyes and
you're tall and athletic in build. And then she like gets pissed off, but she's not pissed off because it's her ex, because she's like, I was already in love with Miles. Why hide it? Like, why let me assume it's somebody else?
and then ask me to be a part of
Yes.
the birth and all, like, you
And
brought
caring
me
for
into
you.
this.
Yes. So in 2013, after
Yeah.
two,
That's pretty shitty. That part I'll agree with. I'm on Wendy's side.
after 2 years of stability, Miles develops a high fever and they find that his cancer has progressed. Violet invites Wendy to a lake house to tell her she's pregnant again. And like Wendy went and she's like, well, I'm here. But Miles' cancer is back. I'm so happy for you and you're pregnant, but he's dying. He has 6 weeks to 6 months to live. And so he graciously told me to come and get a day of rest, but I am leaving in the morning.
Yeah.
David has been making excuses to not meet Kit. And then one day, Liza just brings the baby to the house to introduce him to her dad. And she tells her dad that Ryan is doing well now and he's on a new medication and he plans to come meet Kit, which is crazy because she's been here. He didn't even bother to leave where he went to come and see his daughter. Like, I get not being able to make it there for the birth because you're far away, but you didn't drop everything to come see your baby right after she was born? Yeah. Wild activity. Anyways, Violet takes Jonah to the park to talk, and she apologizes for the way that she handled things. She explains how much he impacted her life and asks him if they can try to make things work. It doesn't feel warm the way she's talking. Like, whenever she talks to even this conversation, like, look, you have to know that your birth really fucked me up. So because I brought you into this world, I need you to have patience with me. It's not,
I think it felt real. Like, it felt like the only way I know how to do this is just to be honest with you because I'm struggling and I recognize I'm struggling. Mm-hmm. And I know that that's not your fault. That's on me. And I'm going to do what I can to fix it. And I'm working on it. And I'm sorry that I'm not different and that I can't handle this a different way, but I am trying. And this is me trying to extend an olive branch.
He asks about his father and she's like, okay, nobody knows who he is. So I will tell you a couple things, but I'm not ready to share the name of your father with you yet. She tells him that he was kind and an athlete.
She has to tell her sister first. I feel like I can't tell you yet because there's someone else I need to tell first and have that conversation with.
Which she does kind of say, without saying my sister, she calls her my best friend.
Best friend, yeah.
Grace decides it's time to go home. And Ben arrives at her apartment and asks if she's leaving forever. And he tells her about his feelings for her. And then they kiss. Jumping back to 2014, Wendy feels lonely as Miles' condition deteriorates. Liza and Grace are out of town, and Violet says her obstetrician discouraged her from being in a cancer ward. And Violet's like, I know she's a little like hipster and it's not medically based, but it makes me feel good that she said I can't go because I don't want to go. Wendy knows that this is a lie. Wendy shares a touching last moment with Miles, and he dies. She like crawls into the hospital bed with him, and he dies while they're asleep. Violet arrives at the house after Miles dies, but Wendy doesn't want to see her. Violet cries to her mother, but Marilyn tells her to give her sister mercy, telling her Violet has a good life and Wendy's has been hard. Violet is then offended and keeps crying to argue with her mom. Ugh. And when she says that again, Wendy is acting unfairly, like she wouldn't even see me, Mom, Marilyn reminds her that she just lost her husband. Like, that's it. It's not about you right now, Violet. Back in the present, Violet pissed me off this whole book.
Yeah.
Grace explains that she didn't go to her parents because she didn't want to disappoint them. And David announces that he wants to be Kit's babysitter when Liza goes back to work. And Marilyn's like, finally!
Yeah.
You're acting like the man that you are. In 2014, Wendy arrives at Violet and Matt's house. And Wyatt has made her a welcome sign. Wendy is put off by Violet openly breastfeeding at the table. And Violet tells her, oh, you wouldn't know about nursing a child. Which Wendy doesn't think it's fair that Violet has so much.
They're both taking jabs at each other for sure. But like, come on, Violet.
Yeah, that was a rough one. Mm-hmm. In present day, Violet has never apologized to Wendy because that's not how their relationship works. They haven't spoken since Jonah went to live with Marilyn and David. And Matt convinces Violet to correct things with her sister. At first, I did not like Matt. But then I'm like, oh.
Yeah, because he's like,
I don't want that boy in my house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, that was a possibility always.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, he could have found me when he was 20.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so as they talk, Wendy mentions that she ran into Aaron and that Jonah got his mom's eyes, letting Violet know that she's discovered Aaron is Jonah's father.
yeah.
Wendy says Violet is never there for her when she needs her, and Violet recognizes this is true. Violet says that she's like makes this excuse that people hurt those that they love the most because they trust they'll never leave them.
And Wendy like calls her out for it, like, oh, okay, so you are actively treating me like shit because you think I love you?
When Wendy mentions Miles again, Violet finally understands that Wendy is constantly mentioning him because she loves him. She was like, oh, here she goes, talking about her dead husband again.
Yeah.
But it's not because she just wants to keep his memory
She doesn't
alive.
want you to feel sorry for her.
She just
loves
loves him. She got the love that her mom and dad had,
Yeah.
and Violet can't see that.
Yeah.
So the sisters decide that they want to be a part of each other's lives. 8 months later, the family tries to remember. They're like sitting around the table. They're like, oh, a teacher just passed away from the school that all the girls went to. And they're like, wait, who is he? What did he teach? I don't know. They're like arguing about it.
Oh, yeah.
Ben's in town. So like David and all of the boyfriends' husbands are in like the living room. And he's like sitting around watching the guys and how they interact with each other. Ben's in town. Grace considers him to be her person. And then Ryan has spent some time with Kit and is in town now. Marilyn and Wendy talk to Jonah about college, but he doesn't want to leave home. And Marilyn lures David outside to that fucking ginkgo tree again. And realizes that all her daughters are like David in different ways. The novel ends with Marilyn and David holding hands.
All right, well, now we get to rate this book.
Yeah, we do.
Let's talk about our ratings. We rate all of our books on a 3-shot system. 1 shot is I'm not coming back for more. 2 shots is it's good enough for another, but not worth the hangover. And 3 shots is it got me up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. All right, this was Rachel's choice. Yeah?
'Twas.
All right, what's your rating?
When I finished the book, I was going to give it a 3. But after sitting with it for a little while, I think I'm going to land on a 2. I do like the portrayal because we read a lot of books about families and marriages, and a lot of times it's not the best. Like there's always something the husband fucks up or the wife doesn't. There's always something they end up divorced or unhappy. So I did like that there was a love story weeded in through the book that basically built this family. So I will give it a 2.
I can say without a shadow of a doubt I was never going to land on a 3 with this book. But I am still I did just finish it a couple days ago, and I feel like it's not settled, and so I'm really struggling with where to land on it. I think the story itself was good, but it was way too long. There was so much in it that didn't potentially need to be in it. It was confusing for me, but I do think that it was this beautiful, like it was a very poetic kind of written story.
Yeah.
And so it was really pretty, and I liked the writing, and I liked the love story, and I liked the pieces that were like more meat to it, but there was just so much. So I'm gonna give it a 2.
I'm also going to give it a 2 because I don't think it was a bad story. I think that there was a lot of good stuff. It was entertaining, but it was 700 hours long.
Yeah.
And I also had it on like the highest speed I could go.
With still being able to understand it.
Yes, because it was like, okay, let's just move on. Like what's the next thing that's going to happen? I'm going to give it a 2 because it was not bad.
That's a wrap on this episode of Literature on the Rocks. We survived 4 Sorenson daughters, decades of family drama, and enough emotional baggage to fill several moving trucks. The prompts are live now, so be sure to answer them before next week's book club. We want all your hot takes, and don't forget to subscribe because we're here for you every Wednesday.
Yeah. And if this book taught us anything, it's that growing older doesn't mean you finally have all the answers. It just means you get a little more comfortable living with the questions. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to rate and review the podcast. It helps other readers find us and join these conversations about family, friendship, marriage, and all the beautiful, messy parts of being human.
Family can be complicated, messy, frustrating, and wonderful, sometimes all at once. The most fun we ever had captures that beautifully. Follow @LitOnTheRocksPod on Instagram and TikTok, and visit literatureontherocks.com.
Until next time, may your family secrets stay harmless, your sibling rivalries stay friendly, and your cocktails be strong enough for a second Thanksgiving. Cheers!
Toodaloo!
Bye.